Yo. Right then, today's subject, dealing with Nato, due to the obvious circumstances, the present situation with the war in the Ukraine, Mr. Zelensky and all that business, So quite had a couple of my loopy friends asking me what's an Article 5 obligation. So I've sort of gone, you're gonna have to make a video because it's apparently I automatically presumed everybody knew this, but apparently they don't, like, so this is how we roll, right? This is how we roll. NATO, what does NATO mean? NATO, well, you must know the little thing. NATO stands for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, so what the fuck does this mean? What's all this about? So basically, you gotta go and do your research. Basically, every time you do research, especially with warfare and history, what happens is, you need to go back further and further, and you end up going backward and further, and then you get past the Romans and then the Greeks and then Mesopotamia and whatever. So anyway, basically, you've got obviously you've got the most research to do. That just goes without saying. Research don't ever stop. Right, here we go. So basically, at the end of World War II, which is the Second World War, World War II. So basically, as you know, obviously, Europe was devastated, with this crazy war, So what happens is now Russia. So it's all about Russia, again. So Russia has got this massive build-up of tanks and the army, the Red Army, tanks and infantry, what have you, So to counter that, at the end of after they finished fighting with the Germans finito, right? Go and do your research, go and look at Dresden and all these places in Germany, Berlin, and you know I'm on about, there's completely destroyed. Looks like Mariupol right about now, talking on the round about the April the 8th 2022, looks like Mariupol basically at the end of the war, Second World War, looks like Mariupol today, like 2022 in Europe. It's like this, right? So at the end of the war, there's a big Russian build-up because they had to, the way they did their war, listen, it's take a 25-hour video to explain how Russia, what their war doctrines and that. We won't go into that, it's too deep at the moment, Basically, they've got a massive build-up of arms and manpower, ammunition, and this, that, and the other at the end of the Second World War, So, and then as you know, through our other videos, we're moving from the Second World War, 1945, post World War II, into the Cold War period, You know how we do, right? So this is the Cold War, between the West, the so-called West, and the East, it was like America, Great Britain, the UK, France, whatever, and Canada, and against the Soviet Union, which is in the East, Communist China, the Eastern Bloc, Eastern European, Warsaw Pact. Go and do your research, right? So anyway, to counter this massive Soviet build-up and the build-up of the Eastern Bloc, which is the Warsaw Pact, which is in the Eastern European countries, satellite states of Stalin's Soviet Union, So basically, to counter that, the Western powers, right, the UK, the United States, France, Canada and stuff like that, they decided to get their shit together, and because they saw the new threat after Germany was no more Hitler's capiche, he's had his cyanide capsule in the bunker and that he's committed suicide in Berlin. So all that's done with it. So now they've got a new enemy, which is the Soviet Union, Started more or less straight away at the end of the Second World War, like not like hostilities. Like you got to do your research again. You got to do your research again. The Cold War is not basically it's not a hot war, right? So it's the opposite to the hot. You could say the Cold War. Like now we've got we're in war, so to speak. Keep these people talking about the Third World War. There's a Cold War always happening, or you could call it this one now in Ukraine, the hot peace. It's the opposite to Cold War. Anyway, that's technical jargon. Anyway, so basically, this NATO alliance, yeah, it stands for the North Atlantic Treaty Organisation. Yeah, now I ain't got to do no notes on this yet because I've just known about it for so long, yeah. But I have made a note, yeah, of what countries have joined it, what were the original ones, and then the ones what joined afterwards, yeah. The NATO expansion. See, this is the problem, yeah. If you've been doing your homework and everything, boys and girls, yeah, you'll know that this current situation, 8th of April 2022, is a lot of it's about NATO expansion. Yeah, Mr. Putin's not happy about it. The NATO borders getting closer to his Soviet Russia, right? So this is the situation. Yeah. So we've got the original. These are the original members, right? There's 12 original members. Now there's 30 members, right? So this is image, and it's in I'll just do it in alphabetical order because I've written down in alphabetical order off Wikipedia. So it's like this: Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America. Right, so that was the original 12. 1945, it was the Treaty of Belgium or something, or the Treaty of Luxembourg or something. Basically, the headquarters is in Belgium, same as the European Union headquarters. What a coincidence. Basically, to cut a long story short, yeah, you've got the European Union. We won't go into no Brexit bullshit right about now. I won't entertain a video on Brexit. Not this time of my life anyway. So basically you've got the European Union, the EU, yes, right? That's, you could say it's the economic wing of Europe, and then NATO is the military wing, right, of not just Europe, the Atlantic region, basically. So, and then so basically then that's in like I think it was 1949, not 90, when exactly at the end of the war. I think it was 1949. I ain't quite sure if it was 1945 or 1949 that this made this alliance. Yeah, basically this is like before mass production of nuclear weapons. This was like a conventional armoured force to counteract the Soviet build-up, the Russian build-up, and the Eastern European powers. You know, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Romania, Poland, Belarus. You know, all these, Ukraine, all these countries. What was the in the USSR, you know, do research on the Soviet Union, the USSR, which is the Union, the Social Soviet Republics, or Soviet Social Republics, something like the USSR. So this was like the Russian Federation, what it is today, plus another 14 or 12 federations, you know, like Chechnya, you got there's loads of them. Kazakhstan, and there's loads. There's quite a lot of them. Tricky words, tricky like tricky to say the name of some of these countries. Yeah, Turkmenistan and strange names. Chechnya, Georgia, South Ossetia, all these places, right? Right. So there was so then the end of so like we won't go back to like we won't go to the end of the Cold War and the end the fall of the Berlin Wall, and we won't go into all of that now. This is just a video about NATO, yeah. So this is what it's about basically. Yeah. So one of my loopy friends are asking me, what's an Article 5? What's an Article 5 obligation? VonSpeeX. I was like, and they said, oh shit, you better make a video because it sounds kind of complicated, and I'll need me and my other people will need refreshing now and again because it's quite complicated. It's not really complicated, right? So basically it's like this, yeah. Basically, if you to join the NATO alliance, yeah, you've got to have certain things in place, like you have to join the European Union, yeah. But to cut a long story short, yeah, you've got to have 2% of the GDP, which is your annual budget turnover of the country, basically. Yeah. 2% of that has to go to military spending, tanks, airplanes, rocket launchers, machine guns, hand grenades, tripwires, booby traps, mines, claymore mines, goes on and on and on and on and on. So 2% of the national budget of the country what's joining the alliance has to go to military spending. Now there's been some mix up with Germany where the money just going to 2% now because of the current crisis with the Ukraine and that, but that's another topic, right? That's a different discussion. Basically, to cut a long story short, it's 2% of each country's, and I think America, I ain't sure if they do 2%, or if their 2% is like that much bigger than all our countries put together, they pay more, or whether they actually pay more than 2%. I'm not sure about that. You'd have to go and do that research yourself. That's a small detail, right? So basically, an Article 5, Article 5, I don't know if it's called an Article 5 obligation or Article 5 resolution or whatever it is, or an Article 5 trigger or something like that, right? Basically, it means that if one country is attacked, what's in the alliance, all the other member states, all the other members of the alliance have to come to the aid of the country what's being attacked, whether that's like cyber war, whether it's conventional weapons, or whether even if it's nuclear weapons, right? So get a bit hairy and a little bit tricky, right? So it's like this here. So imagine this here. So now let's just rewind a little bit, yeah. These people, it ain't so much a military command, yeah. It is a supreme allied commander what's in charge of it, yeah, or the general secretary or whatever it is, yeah. But it's a politician, right? It's the policy base. Come on, I ain't gonna start pointing no elbows at nothing at anybody. But listen, it's the same douchebag politicians what have just done all your COVID, or your lockdown and your Partygate. And come on, it's the same douchebag politicians. What I mean, the EU and doing all your lockdown rules and COVID nonsense and what have you, and all the nonsense. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, douchebag politicians. Right? The majority of them are douchebags. Right? Simple and plain. Right? Everybody knows. Anybody with half a brain of their own knows that the majority of politicians, it's douchebags, right? So basically, it's the douchebags, the douchery in charge. So when you see all this upheaval on the news, Channel 4 News, whatever news you watch, or whatever websites you're visiting, and whatever media you're consuming, yeah, you can see all the douchery about the no-fly zone. Right, let's quickly run out of this no-fly zone. I want to do a no-fly zone, right? So basically, you've heard it probably already. You're probably bored of it by now. people, Vladimir Zelensky now, we take our lot off to him, yeah, he's a geezer. He is a geezer, but you can't ask for a no-fly zone. It's anybody what's ever read half a book about the military or submarines, submarines, yeah, oh no, that you can't come into direct contact with a potential enemy like Russia, right? Right, so basically, we've got another video to make about the United Nations, about the Security Council, the permanent five members. Quickly run through it quickly. The United Kingdom, the United States of America, France, China, and Russia, all right? So them are the 5 permanent members, and guess what? It's a funny coincidence. Just as it that the 5 permanent members have got a veto, right? They can just veto. One of them can just veto the vote, and it just falls through. Yeah, you got an abstention, or a yes or no, or an abstention, which means you ain't saying shit, you ain't neutral, or you got a veto where you fuck it up for, do your research, right? So, ain't it a coincidence that the 5 permanent members, we've been through it before, yeah? Only it just happens to be the ones with submarine deliverable hydrogen bombs. We've been go and check out the hydrogen bomb video, and we've got other videos on certain tactical weapons and strategic weapons, right? We won't go too deep into all that now. We've got other videos for weapon systems and what have you, nuclear and conventional, non-nuclear and what have you, biological, chemical, radiological, and cyber war and what have you. We go on every level: the propaganda, the social, the economical, the political, the military. We go to every, we go to the spiritual. We'll go to multiple levels. We're only just started, right, with these crazy videos. I'm gonna get myself a nice HD webcam and what have you. We'll get some background thing. We'll get the solar system in the background and what have you. Anyway, side tangent, little side track. Right, so anyway, back to the subject. Isn't it just like, it's just a coincidence that, no, it ain't a coincidence. The 5 permanent members, yeah, are the ones with the big weapons, yeah, basically the weapons. Quickly run through it. The weapons is more or less like land-based missiles in silos or on trucks what move about, or trains and what have you. Missiles on submarines what hide underneath Antarctica and under the ice cap, and never to be detected by a radar satellite and what have you. Right? And then you got gravity bombers, atomic bombs what fall out of airplanes, or launched by airplanes on cruise missiles. There's so many weapon systems. Right. So basically, the main system in the 20th and 21st centuries, the submarine delivered ballistic missile, which has normally got 3 or 5 or 10 multiple warheads on it, and countermeasures and decoys and whatever. So that's the main weapons platform in the current modern age, yeah, with the current situation. So the five countries what I got there, and let's quickly run through it: China, Russia, America, United Kingdom, France, parlez-vous français. So them the main countries with submarines and land-based missiles what can just destroy the world multiple times. It's unnecessarily, but multiple times. So them are the ones that have the say in the big the big things like the United Nations and whatever, even though they haven't really got that much power. So you've got like 3 things what we're talking about now is the United Nations, which is the UN, yeah. European Union, which is the EU, and then NATO, which is the military wing of, well, as we spoke about at the beginning of the video, right? So that, right, so and then after like 1991, at the end of the so-called the first Cold War, or the first stage of the Cold War. You can philosophize it however you like. It's up to you, right? Basically, after 1991, running through 1997 and up until the present day, yeah, you've got these further countries, right? What have been added to the alliance here? You've got Croatia, Germany, Greece, Hungary, the Czech Republic, Estonia, Albania, Bulgaria, Montenegro, Latvia, Lithuania, North Macedonia, Poland, Slovakia, Romania, Slovenia, Spain, and Turkey. Right, so that's the 30 members of the NATO alliance here. So remember, quickly summarising, controlled by the COVID douchebags, yeah. You wait till I've got a video coming up in a couple of weeks about the Opium Wars, the first Opium War and the second Opium War in China, and the 100 years of humiliation and that. Oh, it's gonna blow your mind. We won't go into none of that now. Wait till watch the space here for that Opium Wars video. Wow, it's gonna be mind blowing. Right, listen. So anyway, so in charge of this alliance here and the nuclear weapons and whatever it is, you douchebag politicians what get voted. See, we'll do a separate video about Putin, probably Vladimir Putin. It ain't like a situation where he's just president for life, or Chinese president Xi or Jing, whatever you pronounce his name, right? It ain't like that. It's 4 years in, 4 years out, and whatever. It's just douchebag in, douchebag out. You've seen now. Come on, you've got your evidence now. Yeah? You've seen how they've performed this side of the Atlantic and the other side, especially with Trump's America, through the Cold War deal situation, yeah, through the pandemic. You've seen how the behaviour, Partygate, and come on, boys. It is what it is. It is what it is, right? So we know that the people in charge of these unimaginable weapon systems and complete and utter dickheads, douchebags, level 576,909,000. Come on, just right. It is what it is anyway. This is what we got. It's like this at the moment, right? So basically, yeah, you've got a situation where if one of the member countries, yeah, of the alliance is attacked, yeah, it triggers an Article 5, right? Doctrinal resolution, whatever it's called. I ain't quite sure about the wording. I can't remember the wording. And that means, yeah, that all the other 29 countries, so if one state's invaded, let's say for instance by Russia, right, all the other member states have to come to the rescue, right? Now, it's like this. That means if it escalates to the nuclear level, yeah, you can imagine what's going to go down. So I won't worry about that too much, yeah, because it is me calling them all douchebags and that, but I don't think I'll be able to, me and my crew, I don't think we'll be able to do a better job ourselves, really. So we've got this situation. It's like this at the moment. We've got this in the old Cold War days, you used to have a doctrine called MAD. It was called MAD. It stood for mutual assured destruction. We've been over it before, right? It means that the humanity's got the capability to just annihilate itself like thousands of times over, right? Which is don't make rational sense, but it seems to have stopped any major conventional wars like World War One. You've got to spend quite many hours to appreciate what was actually happening in World War One and World War Two. Right? So it seems to have stopped most of them, even though there's been plenty of conventional wars since the end of World War Two. Right? There's been plenty of wars in Korea, in Vietnam, and Angola. There's just war after war after war. There's wars going on now in Yemen and Aden or somewhere there by Saudi Arabia, and wars going on over. And you've seen what's happened to Syria and Aleppo. It's unbelievable. It just baffles the mind. But this is the human creature. It's what we got right at the moment. So basically, now you got like at the end of the Cold War, you got like really there weren't that much reason for the NATO alliance to be spending all this money on the military. I mean, look how much other stuff they could be doing with all this money. What they're spending on the military, they could be doing all sorts of crazy stuff. They could be going to Mars or anyway. So after the Cold War, now you probably know that you've heard of this battle in Yugoslavia, this war in Yugoslavia, in the Balkans, in Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Kosovo, and that. I did take a few notes here. After the basically during the Cold War from 1945 or from 1949, whenever the treaty was signed in Belgium, until 1991, the NATO alliance, they never fired in anger, right? Never engaged in any military action, right, during the Cold War. But after the Cold War ended, the Soviet Union collapsed, and Russia was kind of like bankrupt and all like poverty and this and that going on in Russia, and corruption and all sorts of madness here. Basically a few years later, NATO's gone into a war in the Balkans, in Kosovo, in Bosnia, Herzegovina and all that, and basically fighting against the Serbs. Now, what you got to remember is Russia, over the centuries, Russia has always been the protector of the Serbs, right? So NATO have gone into Bosnia now to get Milosevic and his people. I can't remember their name, Kradovic, I can't pronounce the name properly. And NATO have gone sending bombs into Belgrade, and so that can't feel nice for the Russian people. Because remember, what I just said half a minute ago, for centuries now, Russia has always been protector of the Slavs, right? And Serbia and the Serbs, them are the Slavs, right? This is how the First World War started. Do your research. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, Serbia. Apparently, this is how the First World War started in Serbia, right? With the Tripact Alliance, this with Russia and France and Great Britain. It's a whole other story. So basically, you've got NATO and the Western powers pissing Russia off left, right, and centre, going into Kosovo and Bosnia, and then you got Afghanistan after the 9/11 attacks. You got NATO warplanes. I think I'm correct in saying, I think there was NATO warplanes. At least there was definitely NATO advisors and military advisors, and I think there was NATO troops and that there. I can't really remember. I've studied that many wars. It's all quite mind blowing. And then you got some some Iraq. They had a mission in Iraq, but I think it was like for training and advice, and I'm not quite sure about it. I've still got to do research myself, obviously. And then you've got basically you've got NATO moving forward, pushing forward, getting closer and closer to Russia, and then you've got what happened in Libya with the Arab Spring and what have you. This is what's got Putin thinking, I ain't feeling this Hillary Clinton malarkey with their Facebook, social media, orange revolutions and that. You don't like it, right? What you got to do is you got to spend an hour, put yourself in the Russian shoe, right? You've got to put yourself inside the Russian shoe, put yourself in their perspective, you know what I'm saying? Put yourself in their shoes and see how to feel when you've got NATO warplanes in Libya and that, getting rid of Gaddafi and, come on. If you look at it from Russian point of view, it don't look very good. Right, so then you got all these, and you got a host of all other things going on. So basically, that's the gist of it's just a quick video. I ain't gonna go on too long, So I've got loads of shit to do, but that's basically the gist of what the NATO alliance is and the Article 5 obligation. So basically, compliance is mandatory.